Hello, my name is Michael. I've been messing with building arcade one-ups, modding them for years, and I've always wanted to make a video like this. And it's been a long time since I've done one of these arcades, and I thought to myself, now's the time. Let's go ahead and make a video about how I personally like to mod my arcade one-ups. I bought this particular arcade off Facebook Marketplace for about 150 bucks. It was not functional. The screen did not come on, but the marquee came on. So I was like, you know what? Let's take a stab at it. And so what I did was the first thing that you do to any arcade one-up that you want to mod. You get rid of the PCB and you buy a new one. I don't have this thing mounted anywhere yet, but you go to Amazon and you buy yourself a monitor control PCB. The one that was in it, the Mortal Kombat 2 one, apparently that was the problem. I had taken this entire thing apart down to the monitor. I opened the monitor all the way up to check every connection. There was nothing wrong with the monitor. So that led me to believe that it was definitely 100% a faulty PCB board. So the board that comes on the back of the monitor that has your games on it, it was busted. I wasn't going to use it anyway. The arcade one-up PCBs don't matter to me whatsoever because I always get these to control the monitor. As you can see, if I plug this bad boy in, the light comes on. So that means the screen works. So that fear was completely put to bed and definitely doubled down on the fact that it was the PCB board, not the monitor. As long as you've got the arcade one-up and the monitor works, mod it. Always mod it. If you're curious to know, I would say that this thing runs about $24. Something like that. Depending on what version you have, you need to look at your monitor. It will tell you what version of monitor you have, because if you get the wrong board, it won't be correctly sized for your monitor. So always match this with what you're buying on Amazon. There is a splitter that I have not purchased yet, but it's a splitter that will be able to power this and your marquee all at the same time. Because these boards here, they don't do that. This is all the stuff I've been steadily getting from Amazon and other places since I got this cabinet. Because after all that time of not building arcades, I had gotten rid of all my extra pieces. So I'm literally starting from scratch here, which is why I wanted to make this video, because I'm starting from nothing. People have their preferences when it comes to arcades, especially when it comes to arcade control decks. This is obviously it's Mortal Kombat style with that X pattern and your run button and all of that. I particularly do not care for this style of button setup, because when you're modding your system, you're putting thousands of games on it. So you want a universal button layout that works for every game, no matter what. And so this just by happenstance happened to be a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet. I'm partial to X-Men cabinets and things like that, but this is what I've got for the smaller place that I live now. So with the smaller form factor and this button pattern, it did not work for me. So what I did is I went to a company called DIY Arcade and I got this. So this is what we'll be putting on today. This is still Mortal Kombat, but it's set up in the 6-button pattern that is more universal for pretty much any game you're going to play on a multicade like this. So coming back to this board, the one thing that you got to know about modding an arcade one-up, as far as I know, unless things have changed since the last time I did it, all of these buttons are useless. this whole thing is useless. You pick it up, you pull it out. Unless you're, like, the board itself, like, the wood and this and the all this stuff, you can reuse this. I have before. If it has the button layout you like. But the buttons themselves, no. So, because they're all connected by this here. And so, like, you can take all this out and you can use the wooden piece and put your own buttons in it. But first of all, they're crappy arcade one-up buttons anyway. But second of all, they won't connect to anything that you put in the tower or in the cabinet for it to actually, you know, use the buttons. Whether it's a RetroPie or a mini PC or whatever we're going to use, these buttons will not work anymore. So you have to change the buttons and get yourself zero delay encoders, which we'll get to in a moment. You know, just for funsies, I can show you what this looks like if you've never opened one up before. I mean, you can... Oh! Well, that button is sticking anyway, so what's the point? Arcade one-up buttons and sticks, they're just not good. I think the sticks are usually okay. They sound good, but the buttons, they're like the lowest quality buttons you can find. They stick so easily. They're just not good. Friends don't let friends use arcade one-up buttons. I've taken all the screws out of this one, and I can show you what it looks like underneath. So this is your stock arcade one-up assembly, right? Let's throw that away. So you got your encoder board here, and all your buttons go into it. So if you're wanting to use your actual board and you just want to replace the buttons, they have these little push tabs that you push in and you push out like so, and then you've got your own little thing to put your own button in. So obviously you would take all of this out and you would start from scratch. But we're not going to do that because we have our own board. So this is just the stock arcade one-up board. For us, for the purposes of this video, this thing no longer exists to us, so we're just going to put this off to the side. Now that we have our custom board from DIY Arcade, we're going to make this snazzy. Now, you'll see a lot of times, especially if I put any of my old builds in this video to show you what I've done in the past, I've always gone with like light up buttons and fancy sticks and all these things. Like, I've done everything in between, right? So this particular time, I just wanted a singular look. I wanted everything to be black. So I went with all black buttons. Now people will be like, oh, you gotta get Sanwa, you gotta get this, you gotta get that. No, you don't. You don't. You just get quality stuff, usually from Amazon or DIY Arcade. Like these I got from Amazon, right? These came with it. These are the joysticks. Now the one thing I did do, because usually these things come with they come with ball tops, and I don't like ball tops. I like bat tops, which are these toppers, right? So I did buy these extra and I put them on there. The ball tops are, I put them somewhere else, I don't know. But this one just rolled under my couch, so I'm gonna have to get that back. Okay, welcome back to this new angle. I did find my bat top, but it took a lot more effort than I care to admit. My couch is literally 17 feet long. All right, so let's put that back on here. You'll see some arcade purists, you know, live and die on these soapboxes and hills about how you have to have very specific joysticks and blah, blah, blah. I prefer to find the version of sticks and buttons on Amazon that only take one plug, and it's got that in it right there. Because you'll see, I have some other buttons too that are for specific reasons here. I have the little coin push buttons that I like to put in, and they have these bad boys. And these bad boys require these kind of cables where one plug goes into your encoder, which we'll get to, and these plugs are dual things that go on these little metal tips. They're easy to fall off, this, that, and everything else. I prefer to just have one nice little plug that controls everything. And, you know, some people are against that, some people don't care. I don't care. I prefer this. And I don't have any problems out of my directions or sticks ever. So, before we get too more deep into this, I want to explain things about gates. So, you can see right now the gate I have on this, if you can tell, is orange because it's not the one that came in with it. I believe the ones that came on it were the square gates. And what gates do is literally either limit or free up, you know, the range of motion in your stick, okay? Like if you've got Space Invaders, you can get a gate that literally only lets your stick move left and right. It won't be able to move anywhere else because the stick is stopping it. I always suggest and prefer octagonal gates because it gives you that complete range of motion, and it'll even help you sometimes in your down toward, down back, you know, the sort of like Street Fighter stuff. That's what I like. If you've got a completely round circular gate, it doesn't really, I don't know, it's almost too free. The octagonal gate is where it's at for most any game that you're going to play on an arcade like this. So, that's the explanation for that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to install buttons into this nice custom DIY arcade Mortal Kombat 2 Legacy Edition controller deck. This deck, after shipping, you know, I don't remember. I believe it was $64, then plus taxes, plus shipping. Not that bad. So it's literally this easy. You take your button, you take your plastic screw, you put it in, and you screw it down. That's literally all you've got to do. Boom. Now there's a button inside. And we're going to continue to... Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm kind of anal retentive when it comes to my arcade, so I always like my plug for it to be kind of like that. But, yeah, we're going to put all these in. I might speed up the footage. I think I'm going to change the angle so you can see what I'm doing. But we're going to put all the buttons in. Oh, here are the ball tops I was talking about. I didn't use them. I used my bat tops. So like I said, we're going to put all the buttons in. And since, you know, I usually did like light up red, light up blue, and then I'd have like different light up colors for the coin buttons and things like that. But right now, all of the buttons in this build will be the same for player 1 and player 2. It's going to be a nice black finish on everything. And I'm pretty sure I got like a load of extra buttons as well. It's real nice. Real nice. I don't know what it's going to look like when it's done. I might not like it when I like look at it when it's done, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. Michael, why aren't you opening the bags? It's faster this way. Just grip it and rip it. Now, I will tell you one thing that you might not know because I haven't spoken about it yet. I've been waiting to do this forever. I've had this arcade shell for quite a while. I've been slowly but surely gathering things. And technically right now, at the time of me making this video, I don't even have the main event. I got everything I need except for a PC. Because I don't mod with Pandora. I don't mod with, RetroPie. I'm a PC guy, and I like putting PCs in my arcade 1-ups. They don't have to be powerful, just powerful enough. They don't have to be gaming PCs. They can just be office PCs. I really like the Dell Optiplex, or Omniplex, or what the Optiplexes. They work really, really, really well. Because, we're not emulating Resident Evil 9. We're emulating the X-Men arcade game, Marvel vs. Capcom, Captain America and the Avengers, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. And then if you want to, we can run like all the classic stuff. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Sega Genesis, Master System, Sega CD, Nintendo 64, PS1, PS2. We don't have to, if it can emulate PS2 games, I'm happy. Anything above that, you need a beefier system, and then you need a lot of cooling, and you need blah, 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 blah. You get in the woods with that shit. So, just find yourself a nice, cheap office PC that can run arcade games. It's not that difficult. Bless you, honey. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, well, I see that you've got 6 buttons lined up for player 1 and player 2. Why do you have 4 up here? Well, to answer that question, that's just how it comes. But I liked it, so I didn't email anybody or say anything. I went ahead and took it the way it came. I didn't have any like notes or whatever for these people. And I'll tell you why in a minute, because when you guys find out what this is, you're going to like it. Oh, what I was going to say earlier when I was talking about the original arcade 1-up board, there have been times that I used a single button and spliced it into a thing and put it in my encoder. Because if I have a PC that I can splice into the power button on the PC for, if I can splice into that and put an arcade button on it, I'll put that at like the top of the thing, and I'll be able to hit it from the PC on and off. But depending on what PC you get, that's not always going to be something you can do. But I like ease of use. I like to be able to shut my cabinet completely and not have to worry about it. But if you can't splice your power button, you kind of have to leave the back off to be able to turn your PC on and off, All right, make sure you're nice and tight, or at least as tight as it's going to be. You don't want to over tighten these. I know you think you should, but you really shouldn't. Oh, wow. That looks pretty good to me. I like that. That looks really good. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's clean up some of this trash and keep going. All right, so as you can see right here, we've got all the nice black buttons installed. Those are really cool looking. I actually really like the look of this. However, going on with the black style motif, whatever, I still needed player buttons, start buttons. These were harder to find. I think I got them on DIY Arcade. But I had to buy a 4-pack, so I've got players 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I'm only going to use players 1 and 2. However, they are hooked up the old, well, not the old way, but the other way. And so you've got to install them a little differently because there's a little extra step, So you're going to want to have, you're going to want to have the button in first. And so we're going to stick it in for player 1. Fits perfectly. But then we're going to have to put this on first before anything else to hold it down once I find the right thread. Why is that not right? Hold on. Is this even the right thing? Yes, it is. My bad, guys. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now that's on. And we're in there. The thing that I don't like is that these are like a matte finish and they're like flat. This is glossy and it's dipped inside, but it's still black. And it's, you know, it's separate from these, so I think it's okay. The problem lies in this having this extra part here. Now, I'm going to come up to the camera to install this so you guys can see how I'm doing it. The thing about this, if it'll focus, is that this is your button right here. And there's holes, right? And then this bad boy has got what you need in there. You can see there's that little dip, or that little peg there, And so when you press the button, you'll see that these come up. So you want that button to be right on top of that. And so you've got your down hole and your up hole. You're going to stick it in there. And you're going to try to line the holes up with the pegs. Right? So it's fairly easy as long as you... Woo! I got one in. So we got one in right there. And then we're going to push down and the other one's in. So now it's in there, it's sturdy, and when you click it, you can see right there that it's pressing the button. These will be hooked up in a different manner. So as I've said, I like just plug it right in and you're done, right? I had to buy different cables for these because these little metal pins here require these little metal not pegs, but you know, they require the metal kind. Fortunately, it does still have the just plug it in and go at the other end, so we're good there. So now I need to repeat this process for player 2. So when I start hooking up the wires, I'll just pat right into the encoder, which is where we're going to go soon. So I am running into one small problem. Back in the day, well, here's all the stuff. Back in the day, they would screw the arcade 1-up joysticks in with like self-tapping screws or like, you know, pointy screws. But this looks like they pre-drilled because all the screws are flat. And so I used to just steal them from the other things. So now I have to see if I have some self-tapping screws left in the house to screw these in. The problem that I'm having with these is there's no direction. Usually there's like an arrow or something to tell you which way is up on these things. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter too much because you map your buttons every time you do anything. But it'd be nice to know what is the default up. Let's worry about that later. Right now is something I really like to do. I usually only have one, but this came pre-drilled with 2 extra holes in the middle. Now, I don't exactly know what the intended use for that is, but I know what I'm going to use it for, and I'm going to show you what these things are now. And then I'll probably cut and find some self-tapping screws. This is actually built for a car, right? To put USBs into your car, but it's the perfect size for an arcade button. Shove those in. Oh, that's nice. Pull it in. Screw it down. Make sure they're the way I want them to be. Bam. And so you see, I just put USB ports on my console. And I'm going to do that again. I've put 4 USB ports on my deck. So if I want to hook up, well, first of all, if you want like a Bluetooth adapter, you want a Wi-Fi adapter, you want to plug in controllers, anything like that, bam, right there on your control deck. Now, I'll usually have a mouse come up through the back of it to be able to do stuff with or whatever, you know. But I don't want to plug a mouse directly in the front because then I have this big ass wire everywhere. So, but this is for like, oh, I want to hook up I've had a lot of like classic controllers that are USB, like you can get them pretty cheap from Amazon and stuff, like a Super Nintendo controller. It's a USB controller, or a NES controller, or something like that. Or, you know, even if you want to use like a USB cable and hook up an Xbox controller or something to it, you can do that very easily without having to take the back off the arcade and like plug it into the PC and all this kind of stuff. These will plug into the PC and they'll, like, you know, daisy chain into up here. I love that. So right now, this is almost done as far as putting the stuff in it. I'm going to have to take a cut here and go find my self-tapping screws. Okay, so I'm back. I looked around, had some problems. So my self-tapping screws, too big. They'll go right through it. Then I found some other little screws, smaller, but still too big. It'll go through it. So what I decided to do is go ahead and use a drill bit, a tiny drill bit, and get holes started, and then I can probably force these in. We'll see. Hopefully I don't jack this up. This was expensive. But if you want to know what you need to get in order to drill button holes into a piece of wood, it's just a 1-inch spade drill bit. Like, bam. It'll drill right through it. I didn't have to do it with this one because it's already pre-done for me. But if I was to use the original one, I would have drilled out the holes here, maybe a couple of extra ones, maybe one over here and here, something like that, to add extra buttons, and I would have done that using this right here. It's like $5 at Walmart. This is scary. But I am going to say I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape to hold them in place. The arcade 1-ups will use glue, but I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape. I plan for this arcade to last a long time, so I want to make sure I do everything correctly. Oh, when you're installing your sticks, take your bat tops off, take your little ring off, and stick it on. Now, well, I forgot I'm going to use the sticky tape, so uno momento, por favor. Use one here. Just little strips. And I might not like the idea, so If I think it sucks, I'm going to remove it. One here and here. So I put one top bottom just to keep it in place. But if it prevents it from being, you know, screwed down well, then I'm going to remove it all. Okay, I got my sticky tape ready. You want to make sure that you get this as dead center as you possibly can. That's pretty good. Okay. And as straight as you possibly can. You don't want it to be crooked, your directions will be off. So what I'm going to do here is very scary. I'm going to turn my drill down to 1. And I'm just going to pre-drill. Shit. Are these... Hold on. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Always, 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 when you are going to screw a screw into wood like this, do not use a drill. Use your screwdriver. It's working. Hell yes. You just got to be careful not to go very deep. You don't need a lot. You just need to start. You just need a starting thing. Once you've got a little hole, screwing it in will do the rest with your screwdriver. Look at that. That is nice. I wish I could have a better angle, but I promise you this is awesome. Pre-drilling something like this is scary, but it works. It's good. As long as you're careful. Be very careful not to over-tighten. If you over-tighten, you're going to have a bad day. And that is pretty much dead center. Put your thing back on. These are directional. You want the finish on top, not the bottom. So, bam. Slap that back on. Slap your back top on. Oh, man. That's so good. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. That is so good. So good. And then look at the back here. You can see where I've got the screws in. Pre-drilling is your friend, at least on this build. So now I'm just going to repeat that process. I'll go ahead and edit that out because you've seen me do one. If you see me do one, you can see me do both. You know what I mean? You get it. I just want to jump in here on this edit because I wanted to show you something that I think could be beneficial in getting your stuff lined up correctly. So you can see that I've got these sticky things on there, right? But you can see these screws, these 4 screws, right? When you're putting when you're putting it in, you can see those screws, right? So if you just get a little bit of every screw, I mean, it's a bad angle, but I mean, like, if you see a little bit of every screw, you're basically center. And that can help guide you. All right. That's super clean, super nice. Let's just see a mock of what it looks like on the arcade, shall we? All right, that is what it looks like on the arcade. I just slapped the front screws in, so it, oh. That looks really cool. I'm very happy I went with the black. I actually want to try something, and it might be dumb, but let's see what it looks like. Okay, so I switched the black out for red. I don't know. I don't know what my opinion is on it. It almost seems like it fits, but then it destroys the full black motif. But like, I don't know, man. It's got the red T molding. Maybe it's cool, maybe it's not. I don't know. We're going to take this out. Oh, wait a minute. I should put them right here. Hold on. Huh. Well, it writes itself. Okay. I'm about to do something I never suggest doing to anyone. I'm going to drill into the arcade. You shouldn't do that. It gets the sawdust inside and you gotta sweep it out and shit, but I was going to put my coin buttons here and here, right? But they already have them right here and here. So why don't I just put the buttons where they are? Let's rock it. So obviously, I think you could get away with having a little smaller. It's like a little bit smaller of a drill, if you can see there. But this drill is not bigger than the thing that keeps it in there, so it'll be fine. Oh, get dead center. Wait a minute. Okay. I just want to make sure there wasn't going to be any gaps or any visible light coming through or anything. See, it gets the dust everywhere. I'm going to have to clean all that. Ta-da! Oh, why are those there? I guess to keep it straight up and down. I didn't realize there's little pegs here. I'm just going to clip them off because Why? The same way I take care of my guitar strings. Pop right here. Clip it right off. Well, I guess it's not getting a smooth finish. I'd like it to just come all the way off, but it doesn't want to. Between the cutting tool and the pulling tool, I just, you know, it's as smooth as it's gonna get, I guess. But it'll work. Gee, oh, that stuff gets everywhere. It's alright. I'll clean it up. Lickety blam. How cool is that? I've made it real. That is so cool. They fit perfect. Oh man. That is so cool. Okay, are you denying the snazzy of that? You cannot deny the snazzy of that. That's so cool. This is the hookup for the coin buttons, right? And what did we learn last time? That's your actual button. This has a light in it because those quarter things light up. So you've got your top and bottom peg hole or pegs. You've got your top and bottom holes for the pegs. But the button has to be down so that the other button, when you press it, it can hit it. So it's pretty nonchalant. Like, you just make sure that you get your pegs in the holes somehow. Blammo, blammo, and we are in. And you'll see that this has this little groove here, if it'll focus on it. Maybe. So, in that actual button, you stick this all the way through, twist it till you find it. It'll click in a little bit, and then you twist it more, and then you're locked in place. And then you just, you know, hook up your wires to the encoder, and we'll get to that point soon enough. I was about to hook up the second one until I realized this actually comes in 3 pieces. I had already put the light in, so there's a tunnel here, and there's 2. Man, the lighting is pretty rough. Well, trust me, there's 2 little metal grooves in there. And then this thing's got little metal on it, and then you take the metal and the metal and you slap them together. Now they're in. It's kind of like changing a light on your, like a headlight or something on your car. Just in case you're absolutely dying to see me do it, it's hard to see. Okay, so I found the groove, stuck it in, pushed it up. Although, yeah, I'd like them both to be up so that it gets to the encoder easier. But yeah, that's awesome. I ran into a small problem. The arcade wires I bought to hook up these bad boys, the middle connectors are too small. I got to buy bigger ones. But things like that happen when you're buying things with ideas in your head without having everything in front of you. So that's kind of got me in a brick wall right now, but we can still hook up the encoders and get this hooked up. So we're gonna do that. These are encoders. These are what makes everything work. These are all the cables for your buttons, the cable for your joystick, and the USB cable that hooks from here to your computer. So we got a player 1 and a player 2. Although they're not predetermined, you can set them up once you've got everything plugged into a PC. We don't really need this cable right now, but it's cool to just get it out of the way. Now, I never recommend screwing anything directly to wood or metal, and I think I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided sticky tape on the back of these as sort of a kind of a bridge between actual contact to the wood. You don't need much. I'm just going to cover where it says USB right here. It should give it a little bit of a window, and then when I put the screws in it, I'm not going to tighten it all the way down. Just enough to where it won't wiggle. So we've got our stuff going here. We're going to flip it right over, and I'm kind of torn on where I like to put these things. I kind of like them up here. I also kind of like them down here. It's going to be like a stylistic choice. I haven't even made a two-person cabinet in a while. Or maybe I can put them right there, like right under, you know? Like, bang. Why isn't that sticking? We're looking really good. This is exactly how it should be looking. Encoders are in a good spot. The buttons are all nice and well. These are in there forever. Those are looking good. Everything is in place. First and foremost, the most obvious thing is the joystick. So, bam, that's in there. And then it goes in here. Now, that's one cable and your whole joystick is hooked up. That's why I like these. And they're not. The first arcade one-up I built, I couldn't even do Hadoukens. Like, the joystick was trash. But these, they're good. Just because they're not Sanwa, just because they're not like competition joysticks, don't make them any less good. And I'm pretty sure the gate said Sanwa, so maybe they are, just whatever. This first one is button 1, and we're just going to go all the way down the line. So we're going here into here. Because when you're looking at it, that's button 1. So you kind of have to keep your mind in back order, or kind of a backwards way of looking at it, because it's all upside down and backwards and weird. Alright, so that's done. I only need 1, 2, 3, 4 more wires hooked up to this and everything would work. But there you go. That's this. And I'm going to go ahead and stop for today, but I'll edit the rest of it into the video. Or maybe this will be a multi-part video. I don't know. But this is all I can legitimately accomplish today. I have hit roadblocks I cannot get out of without ordering something else. So I have to order more, or I have to order the right wires for those buttons. But these are all hooked up. Everything is cool. Looks amazing. I can't wait.